Why, hello, visitors. I said hello, hello, hello. I've heard about you. Friend, your fame has preceded you. And I am Liz from Augusta. I'd like to share with you nuggets of gold, some new, some old, and make you a billionaire. Yeah! Oh my phone's ringing. Just give me one moment. Hello? It's my boss. Yeah? No, I'm not talking to professionals. No, sir. They're dirty guys, landscapers. They work outside all day in the rain, in the mud, in the snow. No. I think they're really poor. Yeah, they kind of look like that Sasquatch that we saw when we were hiking the Oyster Dome. No, I don't think they can afford a razor. I think they're the kind of guys that work all day in the mud and they only have a couple of uniforms and they just stand their pants up in the corner and they just get all dry and crispy from working that day. And I think in the morning they put those same pants and shirt back on and they go right out and do it all again. Boss, they are not professionals. Oh, they're different? Oh, I'm so sorry, boss. I didn't know that. Okay. I'll try again. I'll start over. Okay, thank you, boss. Sorry again. Bye-bye. Well, I'm really puzzled. I didn't know there were any professional landscapers. So I'm going to have to rethink what I was going to say because if I'm talking to professionals, I need to look professional. And I thought landscapers would appreciate my Gary V shoes. You know, they work under the clouds and they work in the dirt. And I have my Gary V shoes. But I guess if I'm supposed to talk to professionals today, I better change my clothes. So off with the shoes. Can't be wearing no hat like this now, can I? Well, I never heard of such a thing in my whole life. Oh my, I'll have to start all over. If they're professionals, wow, things have sure changed these days. Well, I know how to talk to some professionals. I'm really interested to see the difference here. Sorry, I gotta get changed. Just give me one moment. My hair's not gonna be perfect or anything because I sure wasn't planning on this change now. Okay, let me just put my jacket on. And then we'll start from the top. Y'all cool with that? Jacket's messed up. Let me see here. Never did hear such a thing. What's this world coming to? All right. Okay, well, let me see. I'll put on a couple rings and a necklace. Y'all deserve that too. Now let me start. Let me start over. Hello and welcome. I'm Liz. Today I would like to speak with you on presenting like a billionaire. Before coming into the landscape industry, many of us worked in other industries and had other employment. Some of you were helicopter pilots, lawyers, dentists, medical professionals, software designers, and multiple other kinds of work. So how is it that today we are all here together to talk about landscaping, professionalism, and the landscape industry. One thing, a decision. We all had to come to a decision to do what we're currently doing. I changed my clothes because I found out that you were professionals, and I highly value and respect all of you. I want to show you that you can be confident in what we do and that your appearance out in the world can be professional. My respect for you caused me to change my appearance to come before you and to share. When I refer to the billionaire, I don't refer to them as in the amount of wealth they have or earthly possessions they possess because they're billionaires and because they have a lot of money. What I'm referring to is the way a billionaire's demeanor is and their level of confidence because of their success in the world. You wouldn't come across a billionaire who would come up to do a deal or an estimate in our case, and they'd be like, I hope I can do it. I hope I can get this deal. No, because of their past successes and because of what they've done already, they present themselves with confidence. They have an air about them, not cocky, not ego, because some of them actually dress very humbly and you would never know they were billionaires. I am talking about the way they present in the world. Because they know who they are and what they have achieved and what they're capable of, they know they're professionals. When people see you, do they see a professional? When they see your crew on jobs, do they see a professional? I'm going to prove to you that by the way you look and carry yourself, present yourself, people can identify what you are. We are trying to change the professionalism in the landscape industry, and across the board, most landscapers are very unprofessional. So I want to prove to you that it does matter. It is a given that we're going to be dirty. People know that. We're outside in the mud, in the dirt, and it's expected. You can still be completely professional in the way you manage your crews and manage yourself and conduct yourself in business. So I want to show you some photos, and I want you to yell out what the person is or what industry they're in and just yell it out. So for instance, if I had a little boy walking here right now and he had a baseball cap on, striped baseball uniform, cleats, bat over his shoulder, and a mitt, you would say, he's a baseball player or he's into baseball. So I want to show you how you can be identified by where you are, what you wear, and how you're conducting yourself. So you've already seen this first one here. So tell me, shout it out what this guy is. You're right, he's a DJ. How do you know? He's got his hands on both records. He's got a soundboard here. There's a disco ball here. So it is very likely that he is in a club or some sort of party and he's managing the music. If you look at this picture, you'll immediately yell out, model. They're models. How do you know? Well, their bodies are in positions most humans aren't usually. They're gyrating in their poses. They're dressed elegantly. Their hair is done and they're holding a pose to be photographed. And probably if their life depended on it, they couldn't push a Thatcher up a ramp into a truck. So by looking at them, you can tell that they're models. The next one, at a glance, yell out what it is. You're right, these are rappers. How do you know? Their hats are a bit askew. They look a little like punks. They have jewelry. They're a little unkept, not really dressed up in a suit or anything like that. Typically a lot of chains, tattoos, jewelry, and leathers. So we see a lot of chains there, hat on backwards, sweatshirt. By looking at them, you know what they are. They have a microphone in their hand, they're dancing, they're rapping. Okay, shout it out. You're right, Olympic weightlifter. And how do we know this? Okay, he is from the country Georgia. He has the weight, he has the Olympic rings in the background. He has a lot of weight on this, and he is doing a snatch, and he's holding it above his head for a certain amount of seconds, and it's hard. And so you know that the typical human could not lift that much, so he must be in the Olympics. He's a big dude, and he's exerting himself magnificently. So at a glance, you know what he is. Okay, here we have a waitress. So how do we know she's a waitress? She has a tray in her hand and a coffee cup. She's cheerfully speaking to customers who are sitting at tables. And if you look at the background, her environment shows that she's in a restaurant. Okay, what is this? You're right, he's a lawyer. Typically, in these kind of photos or with a lawyer, we would see dark mahogany wood or something in the courtroom. You see people in the courtroom waiting. You see the person who might be tried, or this looks like it could be two lawyers, or he is the defendant and he is defending him, and he's wearing a suit and tie, which is the typical clothing that they wear in their industry. So we could safely say he is a lawyer. Okay, look at this one and tell me what he is. Yes, he's a helicopter pilot. And how do we know? He's in a helicopter. It is camo, so we know that they want to be disguised when they are out flying. He's in full military gear, patches for his unit, helmet. He has all the gear for absolutely everything you could need. He has weapons, everything is camo, and it is pretty evident that they're in the military and that they're fighter pilots. Well, helicopter pilots. Okay, look at this one. This guy's a firefighter. Why? How do we know at a glance what he is? He's wearing a uniform. He has oxygen on the back. You know he's legit. He's in the middle of action. He is bravely walking into the fire, knowing he's fully equipped. He has all his safety gear, and he is professional. He's going for it. He's confident. He knows what he's supposed to do. What is this? This is a surgeon. How do you know he's the surgeon? How do you know he's the one in charge? This nurse here is holding utensils for him. He is doing the work. The body is here. They're in a sanitized environment. They have lights. We can safely say that he is a surgeon. What is this guy? You're right. He's a concert pianist. How do we know? Typically, they wear a tuxedo. Typically, they're on the stage by themselves with a grand piano or a Steinway or some very expensive piano. And they're on a stage, and there's lights around them, and you can see he is performing. So now I want to show you this picture, and you're wondering what in the world this is. When you go to the eye doctor, they say, which one's clearer, A or B? So I want to show you these, and I want you to tell me which of these two people you would prefer to have as your office assistant, handling your customers and their complaints, and working in your office. Okay, this is A. He does not look very happy. He looks like he's saying, "What do you want?" Or would you prefer this person who is cheerful, professional looking, and you know that if you had this individual in your company, they would professionally answer the phone? A, would you want this guy to be your employee mowing the lawn for your company and representing you? Is he professional? No. Or would you prefer this guy? Great outfit, great smile, professional looking, clean. He must have just started his day. Handling himself in a professional manner. A or B? Here's A. If this guy came to your business for an interview, would you want this gentleman, would you consider him quickly as a candidate? Believe it or not, I had someone during the Rona come for an interview, and he was wearing a mask like this with blood in it and all the works. It was a little bit distracting to hear him speak of himself and how he would be great for the Augusta team while he was wearing this bloody teeth thing. So would you prefer that to come for an interview right now? or that, knowing they all will be in a mask. It's difficult to really, without seeing someone's face and knowing, to make any kind of judgment call, but I would say she looks a little more professional. Now, we are in the landscape industry. We have influencers and those that give us information, help us with our businesses. So I'm going to show you one here. Would you prefer to have this young man? He has a nose ring. He has a dark earring. He has a spider skull and crossbones tattoo. His hair is half black, half purple. He has a pipe to smoke a marijuana in his hand, and that's the marijuana plant. And Smoking Crow, it looks like he is advertising them in his photo. He looks high to me. So, would you want to put your confidence in a person like this at a glance? At a glance. If somebody showed you that person and said, they're a leader in our industry, you'd say, number one, they're super young, and number two, no, they are glorifying marijuana. I don't think that I want this person leading us in our industry. Or would you prefer this one? So we all love this guy. Big hand to my candies. Yes. And so, at a glance, we do make a judgment call because of how someone presents themselves. I have so much I want to share with you today. Public speaking is not my forte. This is only the second time I've ever given a speech. So excuse me if I look at my notes periodically. And if it bothers you, just go do something else, but still listen. You just don't have to watch. So first, I want to talk about the decision. Do you have a dream or do you have a goal? A dream is where you fantasize about your bright future. A goal is something where you put together an actionable plan and you make it happen. Once we've decided where we want to go together, I'll help you put together a no excuse plan. We are here, but we want to be here. So let's get there together. Some of us are here, and I speak of here as in the landscape industry, because we were forced out of our corporate position due to layoffs. Some because you're just starting out in life, you love hard work, you love being outside, and you decided to build a business around your passion. Some of you have had a life reversal, an event that stopped you dead in your tracks and has forced you to pivot. So you started a business in this industry. You may have started a lawn care company because you feel dumb. You may have no clue about anything to do with business, so you just keep working longer and harder because you need to make more money. So we all got here differently, with all flavors of dysfunction, some with some genius, but we're here. So where are you in your professionalism? Let's debunk the myths you have about yourself as a professional, decide where you want to be, and figure out how to get there. Maybe you've just reached a point where you have no choice but to succeed in your business. That puts you in a desperate place for answers and direction. First, let's resolve the past so we can move on. Living constantly in the past leads to depression. And I don't mean depression as in a diagnosed clinical state. I mean a constant feeling of being in a state of just feeling low. Living in the future gives you a constant state of anxiety. So how do we live in the now? A decision, and then 1,000 little decisions every day that keep you moving in the right direction. What's the thing that is your hang up from the past that keeps you from having the confidence that you are a professional and believing that? Loss? Let's say you lost a person in death, divorce, or some split of sorts. Was it caused because of you, or were you the victim? Was it no one's fault, but unforeseen circumstances piled up and just caused this explosion? You know you need to get past that to get to a whole state where you can really excel and reach your business goals. Do you resent you are even in this position? and have to grind this hard and it wasn't what you planned? You need a paradigm shift. A paradigm shift is an important change that happens when the unusual way of thinking about something is replaced with a new and different way. I'll give you an example of a day I had one. When we were at our other location in Blaine, Washington, the internet was horrible and it would go out at the randomest times and it would be off for long periods. It would come on for just a minute and then it would go off again. The city did not want to run any kind of cable through there to give us faster internet. So one day I was struggling with that all day. I had customers and deliveries and so much going on and I was just mad. Profit goes out the window and it made me stay there for hours and hours, and finally ended up taking my work after all the staff went home and going home and working on it. And Mike seemed a little quiet and a little down. And when we were working together that evening, I said, what's wrong with you? And some of you know the story that in the past, Mike had built an orphanage for a lady in Africa and the 70 children that she took care of. Well, earlier that day, Mike had heard from her that one of the little boys that Mike knew, who was 12, was taken to the hospital with an appendix attack. And because they didn't have the funds to pay for his treatment, they waited too long and he died in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. So Mike said, I don't understand why you get so frustrated about these first world problems. It's just internet. I was like, what's wrong with you? It's your business, we lost profit. It's been a very frustrating day, I'm the employee. And then he told me that story. A paradigm shift is when, just like that, the way you think about something is reversed. And I realized, okay, it's just internet. Although our first world problems are pretty big to us. So, you know, when you're really down and you're venting to someone and they say, there's so many other people who have it worse than you. You know how mad that makes you in the moment? Then, what if they rattled off like 15 examples of people who had experienced horrible, unimaginable things, one after the other? They just sat there and spit them out. What gives you the paradigm shift in that instance is the magnetic fascination of how in the world did those people survive, because it was humanly impossible. So today, I want you to reach back, if you haven't gotten over this thing, this event in your life, and I want you to feel the anguish of all you've been through. I want you to climb in your pity box for one more time, and then we're gonna move. We're gonna pivot. We're gonna decide, and we're gonna change. We are all a product of our choices. You can't go in two directions at the same time. You can't be in the past and get over here to the goal unless you move. Once you've decided how you'd like to change personally and present professionally, every other decision runs through the filter of that one. When you decide to be a more quality human being, you may lose friends. If you change your habits, those you did those habits with before are going to think you're a dud to be around. Be prepared that your family may not recognize the new you and really not know how to handle themselves around you. A challenging one is when your significant other sees a change. If you shared previous habits or a lifestyle that has radically shifted now, the two of you may no longer be compatible. If you're not committed for life and plan on starting a family together, now might be a good time to part ways for both of you and for both of your sakes. So let's talk about your presentation. and you say, Liz, I am that I am, and that's all that I am. And if you don't like it, too bad. Okay. But does your current professionalism align with a decision to be more professional, successful, and make more money? If so, awesome, awesome. If not, let's continue. You never have a second chance to make a first impression. Every conversation is an interview. You are always on stage. Perform well. We are all a product of our choices. By osmosis, your employees will imitate you. Sorry, it's called the burden of command. Your face. I want to talk about your face. Just pull my screen down here. There's an idiom, put a human face on. That means to make something more appealing, easier to understand, or easier to care about connecting with the actual person. I'm sure you've noticed with everyone running around with masks on recently that real connection with people is a little more difficult. You can't read them as well. When thieves and robbers do their thing, they cover their faces as to not be recognized. When the face is covered, it often can be regarded as impersonal, uncaring, mechanical, as in, what are you hiding? I can't quite connect here. Is your face covered when you meet a client? I'm not talking about a mask. I'm talking about after the COVID and your regular face. Can they get a fast read on you, your genuineness, and your intent to please them as a customer when they look at your face? If you have heavy facial hair or a beard, make sure it's neatly trimmed so that there are clean, defined lines. And so your mouth is uncovered so they can see you when you smile and watch your lips when they move. You need to have a welcoming smile, and if they can't see your mouth, it's covered with hair, with your lunch in it, it's a little off-putting. So let's talk about your hair. Are you currently trying to emulate the hairstyle that you had as a teenager? If so, does that fit with the professional image you are now seeking to portray? Is it long and flowing in the wind when you fly past your customer's window, moving so fast on P for P that they call the office because they're scared? True story. That did happen. If that's the case, put in a ponytail, pull your hair back, or put it in your hat. Let's be professional at work. Let's talk about your appearance, what you wear. So we wear a uniform to identify with our team or business. If your company has a uniform, when you're clocked in, you should be wearing that uniform. Uniform means uniformity. By wearing the uniform, it shows all in that uniform that you're working together towards the same goal. While you're on the clock, your time is not your own. You and your team are operating in a cohesive way, not about themselves, but everyone focused on the mission. Wearing the uniform, you're identifying with the team. Show others that you value that unity. Your body language. Do you walk with quiet confidence? Shoulders back when you're speaking with your clients? Not rigid, not Not like this. Hello, how are you? I hope you let me do your landscaping project. No. But you have quiet confidence. You're just soft and welcoming. Are you cocky? Do you walk around like you're God's gift to everybody? Hey, we're the best in town. Nobody's better. We just go around and fix everybody else's work. We're the only ones in all of the county who can install those pavers. Really? And when you show up for an estimate and open the door of your truck, does all the trash fall out from all the food wrappers that you've been throwing on the floor and all the empty cups? I've seen it stacked all the way up to people's glove boxes. We work a lot, bending over flower beds, shoveling, hauling product. Do clients have to look away constantly when you're there? Because your pants are doing the plumber thing people talk about? That ain't cool or hot. Put that away. There's this thing called a belt. A couple tips for greeting clients is eye contact and a hand coming out to greet them. So you've looked them in the eye, you're coming towards them, and your body language has a hand out. Shoulders still back, hand out. Practice this stuff in front of the mirror. When you stand in front of the mirror, tuck your chin in there. It'll be like this. Chin down, welcoming, welcoming. Look them in the eye. Hello, Miss Smith, with a smile. Your body language will show whether you're welcome in their presence. It will sell the job. Your hand mannerisms, the positive, confident way you bring the customer in, and your verbiage to sell the job. For the client with dementia or shifty, anxious eyes, approach them more slowly and from the side. Hello, you can come towards them, but hello, how are you today? If you do a full frontal, you're gonna scare them if they're already a little bit paranoid. If an older client comes out for a walkthrough and they're unsteady, you can offer an arm, or you can put a hand, this is their elbow cupped and they're standing here, you can put a hand behind their elbow and just guide them along and give them a little bit of support. The human touch is very comforting and it holds them steady. By the way, if you look like a bear with hair everywhere, and like I was saying earlier, if you look very disheveled and you're an unkept human being, they're not going to want you to touch them, and they're not going to want the representation of you and your team on the property. When you're talking to an angry customer in person, have a soft face and a non-confrontational stance. So you don't want to be like this and just getting madder and madder and making that very obvious. Keep a soft face, no expression, and keep your body open. You're not looking for a fight. You just have your hands down. You can have your hand to the side, but you are not in a fight stance. You're not in a full frontal, and you are welcoming their conversation and you're being non-confrontational. Seek to be emotionally intelligent, situationally aware, to read and react appropriately in front of your employees and customers. Let me tell you a little bit about the billionaires that I researched. Why did I choose the analogy of the billionaire and not the millionaire? I researched many millionaires and billionaires. I compared and studied their habits, routines, and their business practices. Billionaires are in a whole other league as individuals. Even in their thought processes, the way they approach business and outlook on life in general was completely different. I spent considerable time studying many billionaires to share with you. I put together a list of quotable quotes from the readings that I did. You can email me for a copy at liz@augustalawncareservices.com and I will send that to you. These are the wealthiest, most successful people. Remember, I'm not talking about millionaires. These individuals are exceptional in ways that millionaires are not. Here are 10 things they had in common. There was many, many more, but for time's sake, I will just give you 10 of them. So the common denominator of all of them these were 10 of some of those things. Number one, they get up early. And I had to check out what early was to them. So 5:30 a.m. was the average time. Number two, they read every day. This was the majority reading advice. Develop a systematic approach to reading. Don't read random books. Read books that give you value. Read based on your interest and recommendations of your mentors. Choose books that are based on your challenges at the moment. I thought that was really good. Number three, most were born very poor, had little chance of being successful, and were all self-made. Oh, that was number three, sorry. Number four, morning routines were extremely important to them. Number five, they said to create sustainable habits, then make them a ritual. Number six, participate in some sort of exercise every day. Number seven, they all practice belief, vision, and an execution plan for that vision. Number eight, they attracted followers to their vision and mission. Number nine, they took huge risks. Number 10, they acted fast when opportunities came their way. One author who conducted interviews with some of the billionaires said they were the most disciplined people he had ever met. He said they were not superhumans and admitted they felt like being lazy at times. They were aware of that fact, but did not give themselves any slack. He said they took up struggle to overcome their weaknesses. So we see that they're outstanding people, but the habits they had are not unattainable. You might not have a goal to be a billionaire. You might have different goals in your life. Most of them never planned on being a billionaire. They loved the game of business and they loved the process more than the outcome. The difference between them and a millionaire was a millionaire would get to a certain point in their life. You're like, I'm cool. I got enough money. I'm just going to go, kick back and do my thing. Billionaires did not get there because they were driven by money. They just wanted to keep building things and breaking things and making everything better. And it was an innate thing built within them to strive to be better and change. And their personal habits and disciplines made it possible for them to create wealth and growth in their industry. I thought it was really interesting about the vision, and I remembered that the vision in our industry is to change the professionalism in the landscape industry. And I'm going to give you some actionable actions now in our industry to make that happen. Okay, let's put together an action plan and some tips. Leadership. There is no shelf life on leadership. What worked in the past in companies typically will not work now. We have to maneuver much more carefully and diplomatically now. The way Steve Jobs screamed at his employees and belittled them to get them to act and perform would be completely ineffective now. We have to lead by example. We lead by owning our own responsibilities and mistakes, and in so doing, we create teams of owners who emulate that same character. Systems. The hardest thing to do. If you are a small business owner, you must operate like a big business owner. Think of yourself as an army of one. Develop systems, procedures, scheduling, and in every action, just as if you're going to pass it on to an employee. So all the information you would get in there to put for an employee to see and view and perform their job and set them up for success, do the same thing for yourself. If you are alone, schedule, route, and optimize jobs. Click in and out of your job if you have that ability on your phone with your current software or with a tablet. This gives you good data for the future to compare when you put an employee on the job later. If you don't schedule it, it won't happen. Let's talk about structure. Every single thing you think you need to do, or you have to do, you must schedule it. Everyone here likely has a cell phone. You all have a list app and a calendar by default in your phone. Zero excuses. You also have a voice to speak to Siri or Alexis on your phone. You don't even need to pick up the phone to put something on your list. You can also have what's called a shared list, and you can share the list with someone else, name it for the two of you, and you can both add and delete items on that. I have multiple lists. I have a property management company, Good Neighbor Management, so I have Good Neighbor, all the things for that business. Augusta, all the things for that business, my personal to-dos, etc. When you're so tired and can't do another thing at the end of your day, which you know you have to, do the easiest things on the list. Try to do the hardest things earliest in the day. Family. So you say, my family is everything to me. They are the reason that I do all that I do and the business that I'm building. 100%. So how do I balance all this? Scheduling. 100% scheduling your family and every activity. Involve your kids in the game of business. Live it with them. Talk about money, scheduling, plans, goals, all of it in front of them. They are just tiny adults getting all this legit information for you for their future. Habits. These billionaires talked about daily habits and routines. This is January. Perfect time to set goals for the year and then monthly goals. I write mine for the year. Then before the start of each month, I write all the goals for that month. I don't just write the goals, but I write actionable things that I'm going to do every single day to get to that goal. Have an accountability partner for all your different goals and then have them hold you to your commitments. Have fixed disciplines. Do them until they become automatic. Set your alarm for the same time every day and get up when it goes off. Exercise every day. That's what the billionaires did, talked about. A lot of us are very high achievers. When we made the decisions to go all in and build our businesses, we found that this fills almost every hour of the day. Changing your expectations and past routines may be necessary for these new goals. If you had to train for 2 hours a day in the past, maybe you had a competition or event you needed to be ready for, you would need to readjust to meet the current goals. You won't have time to invest in workouts like you did before. Sadly, but from experience, you adjust your daily habits and go hard for 30 minutes if that's all you can fit in. Avoid decision fatigue. If you wear a uniform, you don't have to decide what to wear. If you live alone and you waste money all the time getting junk food, waiting in lines, eating out, stop it.
simplify life. Use paper plates and buy ready-made, healthy foods. We have Instacart here in the Northwest. When I counted the time and the dread of shopping, I needed a solution. I knew my time was more valuable working rather than shopping, and I needed the work to be happening to match my goal. Now I have all my groceries delivered from Costco, Fred Meyer, through Instacart. I use Amazon for 99% of everything else and never have to drive around shopping for anything at all anymore. So let's do some self-evaluation. Let's step back and detach. Watch you conduct yourself in business. Do you like what you see? How have you interpreted the vision you have of yourself? Do people enjoy you or endure you? Maybe you need an outside opinion. Have the guts to ask for one. Never, ever, ever stop learning. Be open to learn with no ego. Everyone knows something you don't. What you learned in your last business won't be relevant technology-wise now. It just moves too fast. When you stop learning, you die. If you aren't growing, you die. We hired some older employees at Augusta because we thought that would balance out with the younger people on the team. They were in their 40s, they had experience, and were very good at their craft. We so appreciated their expertise. The younger guys wanted to learn from them, and they did. However, they didn't work out. They did not fit in our culture because they could not pivot, adapt, change, or even recognize the need to. One gentleman had many years of experience, but he had a victim mentality, thinking people were always doing things behind the scenes to sabotage him and manipulate him. He thought things were being manipulated, and he would spread that poison among the employees in the field. And we had to let him go because he was disrespectful to one of our younger guys who we had given a position of leadership, and he didn't get that position. So he had said some inappropriate things to him, and we had to let him go. And what I really thought of at that time was, has no one been a friend enough to you or loved you enough to say, you are just acting like a child, like a victim? I hope you have somebody that loves you enough that'll call you out on your stuff. People, if you are over 40 and set in your ways and can't be taught and are closed to learning, you will not be successful with all these changes that are happening in our industry. If you can pivot, humble yourself, and force yourself to change and apply yourself to learn what is hard and what you don't understand, you will find these to be the very best and most rewarding years of your life. You have experience and opportunity to lead, teach, and inspire the next generation. You are at your highest earning potential years. Don't be ego protective and have a closed mindset. You can do this. If you don't know me, you might think I'm babbling with no real life experience. The changes I'm asking us to make together, I have made myself. I have been a hair's breadth between life and death many, many times. Each time, all of life had to be reevaluated, and I had to make a decision. 11 years ago, my husband, of then 19 years, had a priority shift and made the decision to leave our family. My son and daughter were 12 and 15, their most vulnerable years, a time when they needed their dad the most. I loved this man very much and wanted our family to stay together. He then decided he wanted to come back. We went through a period of counseling and renewed our vows. He stayed for 3 more years and then he left us for good. The stress of this and the domino effect of the volcanic damage affected me more than I thought it would or could. Very few people knew of the struggle that I was having because on the outside, I just looked normal and stable. I didn't know that I was having a complete nervous breakdown. I couldn't remember things and I had brain fog, and for an example, I would sit in the car at the grocery store and just sit there paralyzed, and I couldn't go into the grocery store, and I would just leave. I would lay in bed and my entire body would shake uncontrollably, and I had no idea what was wrong with me. I would go to the gym, put my workout clothes on, and be right by the machine or by the weights, and I physically could not do 1 rep of anything or make my body perform. I would lash out and act like a caged animal at anyone who got close and tried to show love to me. I got to a place of utter despair, and every waking moment I was suicidal. Through a series of unfortunate events, I reached out for help. I have an amazing friend and a doctor who knows the good that I am to compare what I was, because he's known me for many, many years. I asked him if I had dementia young, or if I was losing it, or because of my uncontrollable shaking, I had Parkinson's or some other tremor-inducing disease or disorder. He was epically awesome. He said all the things I had experienced and kept inside all this time were just now showing a physical manifestation, and that I was completely healthy and not diseased. We put together a plan to get me better, and I'm better. I hate talking about this or about myself. I'm a very private person. But I have looked into some of your eyes and heard your stories and know life hasn't been a picnic for you. I know some of your struggle with illnesses, addiction, and know you need to reach out for help. Maybe you can't see how much you've changed for the worst or how it has affected your daily life or the people you love. So ask someone you love. Get help. You have to get better so you can run your business, raise your family, and just be there, whole for them. Don't be stupid and stubborn and wait as long as I did to get some help. What a waste of time. You say, Liz, this has absolutely nothing to do with business. Actually, it has everything to do with your business. How will we change the landscape industry if we don't change? Depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, symptoms of bipolar, all other diseases of the mind are not normal. They are not death sentences. This is 2021. There are incredible healthcare professionals and remedies and counselors to help you. Find a person you trust, confide in them, then get help. I believe that you have great value and so much left to give to the world. In conclusion, we have no choice but to succeed. Success now is our duty and our obligation. Decide who you want to be and become it. When we recognize and let go of our mind blocks and these heavy chains of stuff in the past holding us back, we are free to become the professional we envision. See yourself that way. Fill your mind with positive content 24/7. Books, podcasts, anything else that is uplifting and helps you to move towards a good place of change. Listen till you believe it. Until it's real. If you start to verbalize the negativity of the old you, shut up. Shut it down. We can be the ants, the little ants that impact everything. I was thinking about how little they are and how they take over whether you want them to or not. They are so tiny and so many, and that they can live in king's palaces and they can live in the poorest pauper's home. Think about the influence we have all over our county every day, not sitting at a desk in the business, but in all these people's lives, on all of their properties. We have opportunities to impact so many lives. We need to be professionals. I've been in the trenches with you as business owners, myself as an employee, and myself as a manager. I haven't worked in the field, but I've been immersed in its functions, processes, and feel the heartbeat of my team members and want them all to succeed. But starting here and starting now, we gotta decide, how will we change the professionalism in our industry? Because I am here, because you are here, and because we are professionals. We will make the hard decision and take actionable steps individually and collectively to change. With a billionaire's confidence, the goal of financial freedom, and a mindset of grateful abundance, we will be a mighty force together. May it be said of us when we have come to the end of our lives, by our children, our employees, and those we've impacted. May they say, we have stood on the shoulders of great men and women. We will follow in their footsteps and know we too will succeed. Thank you.